It is garden season, and today we're going to talk about the 5 dumb things gardeners still do and what you can do better. So if you're like most of the homesteaders in America right now, you're planting a garden, you're getting seed starts ready. Depending on where you are in the growing zones, frost dates are now being passed in a lot of areas or coming up soon in a lot of areas. And so you're getting your garden ready. And so over the last 13 years that I have been living here and gardening and going through lots of learning experiences, I have learned some things. And I see people making a lot of the same mistakes that I have made in the past. And I would rather advise people to avoid some of these things. And some of them can be a little bit controversial. There are some of these that people really love doing, or they believe that this is how you have to do things. And I'm like, no, you don't have to do this. But some of these things are so ingrained in the American homestead psyche that we have a hard time sometimes letting go. Today, we're going to try and let go. So 5 dumb things gardeners still do and what you can do better. Let's go ahead and get into number 1. Back to Eden gardening. Okay, this is something that I dove off into when I first started getting into homesteading here on the homestead. We're going to do a back to Eden garden. I'll never have to pull weeds again, and how great life will be. Complete and total garbage. Now, in some parts of the U.S., this might work. However, it comes with the assumption, mind you, that you have to have access to an unlimited amount of wood chips. And if you have access to an unlimited amount of wood chips and have access to a machine that can easily deposit all of this unlimited amount of wood chips on your garden on a regular basis throughout the growing season, you're probably going to be okay. However, if you don't have access to, number 1, an unlimited amount of grow chips, or 2, a machine that's going to easily apply them for you, like a tractor, a skid steer, something with a bucket, that you can move these wood chips in mass, because it takes chips in mass in order to suppress those weeds, you're going to be up a creek, and it's going to be without a paddle for sure. So what I would recommend, now let's get into all of this first off. I did this. I made this mistakes, and I still had to pull lots and lots and lots of weeds. And some weeds get so ingrained into this that you just can't stop pulling them enough. It just depends on where you live and what weeds you have in your area. But this is not in any way. And other homesteaders, I think, have made YouTube videos. Once they've discovered this, they try to share, hey, listen, this isn't all it's cracked up to be. It's just not. Back to Eden gardening method. For most people, this is not going to be feasible. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to cut your weed pulling time by any sort of noticeable margin when it comes down to it over the long haul, based on the amount of work you're putting into it. Ladies and gentlemen, I've said long and often on my channel, you want things that are low maintenance. You want things that are high production, low maintenance on your homestead, because you have a bazillion other things on your list to do today. And pulling weeds, spending hours out there pulling weeds is not one of them, especially when they just keep coming up. And what you're doing by putting all these wood chips in, you're breaking all this stuff down, and you're giving those weeds great soil. Yeah, you're giving your plants great soil, but you're also giving your weeds great soil too to grow and thrive in. What you can do better. My top recommendation is polypropylene woven fabric. Now, I know some of you guys out there are automatically saying, Zach, that's putting microplastics in your garden. I just did a video recently telling you why this is not the case. If you're putting polyvinyl on your garden, yes, you're putting microplastics. Most of the big box stores carry this cheap polyvinyl garden fabric that over the course of a year or 2 will break down into pieces. It gets nasty. It puts lots of plastics in your garden. You don't want this. You want polypropylene. Organic gardeners use this. It's listed as organic qualified. It has no BPA. It has no PFAS. It doesn't have all those other nasty things. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to breathe in more microplastics than what this stuff is going to put into your garden. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that aspect. What it's going to do is you're going to put this stuff down, and it's going to allow your soil to just break down naturally of all the things you're putting on it, and it's going to keep your soil temperature low. It's going to keep that moisture locked in during the summer, because when it gets hot, all that moisture is going to get locked in, and it's going to allow your plants to thrive. And this will cut down on your weeds. Not to mention, it lasts, at least for me, about 5 years. So I'm on my 5th year now, I believe, and I'm going to be replacing it after this year. I have some standing by that's going to be put back on the garden after this next fall, winter. After I put down new soil material, I'll put the new stuff down, and it'll last for another 5 years. It lasts a good amount of time. That's 5 years without a lot of weed pulling. Are you pulling up weeds sometimes around the holes where you have these? We burn our holes in. We created a template, a wood template. We put down, we used a weed burner to burn the holes in, and then now we put all our plants, and yes, sometimes you're going to pull some weeds in those holes where a weed might get started, but it's so minimal. I highly recommend getting the polypropylene woven garden fabric. It's fantastic. And having used it now for 5 years, I can highly recommend it. Way better than Back to Eden. The second dumb thing I see a lot of gardeners doing is buying store-bought tomato cages. These things are built to break. They will not last. They will not last maybe 2 seasons before they break, and you're going to have to go to the store and buy more, which is exactly what they're hoping you will do. It's a never-ending consumer process. Break that process by making your own tomato cages. They're very, very simple to do. So instead of going to the store, spending money year after year to buy tomato cages and only growing maybe a handful of tomatoes, because every tomato plant you grow, you got to have a cage for it, and that costs money at the store, and the prices are only going up. They're not going down. And you're buying garbage that's going to break. What do you do instead? Try this. Woven fence tomato cages. I have been using this particular one and a whole bunch of others just like it for almost a decade now. I got into this years ago. Basically, you buy the woven fence. Okay, it's the woven fence, and you do 7 sections. So like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you cut it at the fence line, and then you wrap it around, and you lock it in place with the little wraparounds with the endings, and you've got a tomato cage for life. You'll never have to buy one again. And then you take a piece of rebar, which you can find at your local hardware store. You get the 10-foot sections and you cut it, or have them cut it. And then you use those to weave in and out, in and out. So like in, out, in, out, in, out. And then you drive that into the ground and you have a tomato stake. Okay, that stakes the cage down. And this will hold the largest tomato vines that you can grow. And it lasts forever. Stop spending money at the store for tomato cages. Build your own, and they will last forever. Number 3, and this is going to make some people mad, but I don't care. Hose and irrigation systems. These things are absolutely horrible. I can't tell you how many people over the years that I have seen, homesteaders, who purchase an irrigation system. I can't tell you how many companies have approached me over the years wanting me to promote their irrigation systems. When they come to me, I say, no, I don't want this, because I've talked to all the people over the years who have done this, and they have the same complaints over and over again with no exceptions. It breaks, it doesn't last, it corrodes in the sun, the plastic parts break, the cracks, it gets destroyed by animals or something. Something happens to this stuff. It just stops working because it's full of electronics. It doesn't work. It's not built to last. If you look at major farm irrigation systems, they're almost always 90% made out of metal. And you're putting a bunch of plastics inside your garden that aren't probably polypropylene type plastics or BPA free or PFAS free. And now you're putting all that stuff in your garden. But what's worse is it's going to break down because it's not high quality material, and it's going to crack. It's going to break. It's going to get damaged by pests or something, things digging in your garden. It's going to get chewed through if it's that plastic tubing stuff by some mouse or some whatever. It's not going to last. You're going to spend all this money for an irrigation system that may last 1 season, usually 1 season, but then not 2. Usually by the 2nd and 3rd year, it's gone. It's done. And people get really frustrated. So what do the companies expect you to do? They're not going to give you a refund because the warranty only lasts probably like 90 days. And then you're going to go out and buy another one. No, stop doing that. Here's what you do that's better. Spend time in your garden, because all these irrigation systems, they're marketed to you as you don't have to spend time in your garden. You don't have to go out there and waste time watering each plant. All you have to do is just turn it on and then let it go. Or even better yet, you don't even have to do that. You can put it on a timer because we're going to give you a little box with electronics in it, and it'll do it for you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do this, you're going to encounter what a lot of other gardeners have found out is that on the day that the tomato hornworm wakes up and starts chewing down your plants, you're not going to be there to notice because, oh my goodness, the system is watering your plants for you. Then you're going to come out 72 hours later and your tomato plant is gone. It only takes like 36 hours once a tomato hornworm reaches size to strip completely an entire plant. So, I mean, that's one of the benefits of owning a garden, of having a garden, is to spend time in it. It should be rejuvenative for you to spend time in your garden, to water those plants and to see them grow and to reap the produce that they produce. That's something that is fulfilling, or should be. It's something I find fulfilling. So why rob yourself of that with an irrigation system that prevents you from spending time out there or saves you from spending time in the garden that you've created? No, forget these things. They don't last. They're junk, and they really take you away from noticing problems in your garden when they occur as they occur because you're not there to see them. So avoid these things. Do not put irrigation systems in your garden. Number 4, we have become a nation of complete and total germaphobes, ladies and gentlemen. I can't tell you how many top YouTubers out there who tell you that you must disinfect everything that goes into your garden. Otherwise, your plants might catch the cough, or catch some disease or fungus, or you might spread the bubonic plague, and you won't get anything out of your garden. This is a bunch of nonsense. It's garbage. Every time people tell me this or I see this on YouTube, I'm like, germaphobe, laugh at you. I have lots of pruners. This is just a couple of them. I never disinfect my pruners. I don't have to worry about spreading a disease to my tomato plant that's going to kill it. You know why? Because come September or October, they're going to be dead anyway or dying. They're on their way out, but they've already produced for me and given me everything that they're going to give me. Stop worrying about all this high maintenance stuff I've seen people, I'm not kidding you, they'll go out and they'll wear a mask in their garden because they don't want to spread disease to their plants. Good night. What have we become? And they'll go out there with isopropyl alcohol and wipe after every cut, they'll wipe their blades of their clippers. I'm like, what are you doing? No, you don't need to do this. You're making it harder than it already is. And trust me, gardening can be hard. It's like a battlefield. I tell people every year, you're going to go out and you're going to do battle in your garden. And you better be ready, willing, and able to suit up and go do that battle. If you're not going to make it. At least you're not going to make anything substantial out of your garden. Understand that you're going to have to do work in your garden. But going ahead and trying to disinfect everything and worrying about whatever you bring into your garden has to be disinfected first. And I'm not talking just about clippers, but all kinds of stuff like tomato cages and everything. People do that. You're making life hard for yourself. Stop doing that. Your plant's going to be dead long before it gets a disease that's serious enough to kill it. Every once in a while, yes, you'll get a plant that's going to get a fungus or a disease, and aphid, some sort of infection or some kind of infestation that's going to kill it, and it's not going to produce what it could produce. For the most part, that's not going to happen. Your plant's going to be long dead before it succumbs to a disease. It's going to give you all of the produce that it's going to give you long before it succumbs to a disease. So stop making life hard for you and disinfecting everything or wearing a mask out there. Your garden. Good night. Number 5. And I thought long and hard about this one, but this has got to make the list. Electroculture. This is, in my opinion, a giant scam. I've tried it 2 years in a row now. 2 years in a row. I made a lot of simple antennas. I made a lot of fancy antennas, and I saw way mixed results. Some did okay. Some were like, no. I even got one that got severely infected last year from a disease. And it was like electrocultured out. It had all the fancy antennas. And I don't buy into this nonsense. If you don't know what electroculture is basically putting space antennas, radio antennas on your plants or on your cages or in your garden in order to draw in the energy of the universe so that you can direct them down to the roots of your plants and more easily allow them to, grow more produce. This is a bunch of nonsense. Nonsense. You know what works? I'll tell you what works. Putting things on your soil like fertilizers, like manures, lasagna layering, which is what I've been doing now for years. Putting hay, putting straw, putting leaves, putting manures, putting fertilizers, rice hulls, wood chips, all kinds of stuff. Putting that on your garden and giving your garden a fertile place for things to grow in. Have you ever walked out into the forest? Does it feel like you're walking on concrete? No, it feels like you're walking on soil that gives as you walk on it. That's how it feels like. If you're walking on your garden and it's hard, you're doing it wrong, okay? And electroculture is not going to make it all of a sudden, be this Garden of Eden. Now, you got to give your plants living soil to grow in. Microbiology, you can't go out to my garden and just do a small scoop of soil without having worms and living microbes and all kinds of stuff in it. You even spraying the dirt just to put in plants, there's worms everywhere. Why? Because things are living in my soil. And you putting antennas in your ground to somehow rope in the energy of the universe is not going to make your plants grow better. And if you think that, there's something else that's going on in your garden. It's not that. I've tried this. I've tried this 2 years in a row, and I'm calling bullcrap on this. On my homestead. I'm not doing it. I tried it. And you're going to go out and you're going to spend all this money on copper, which is expensive, rather than spending money on good fertilizers, good manure, good compost, and allowing that to break down into your soil so that the mycelium can be established and the microbiology can be established and the worm colonies can be established and the insects that put in all kinds of insect frass on your garden can be established. That's way more healthier for your soil than trying to contact aliens to help or the energy of the universe or the lightning, whatever. Ride the lightning. Good grief. No, I don't do any of this stuff. I don't do any of that. I did it for 2 years and I'm done. I'm done with it. I'm not sold on it at all. I think you're going to get way better growth by just building healthy soil. Healthy soil comes first. And if you're tilling your ground, you're just destroying everything. And yeah, you might need to rope in the electrons of the universe in order to make your plants to grow because there ain't nothing growing in your soil if you're tilling it in. Stop tilling your soil. That'd be another video we'll do. What do you think? Am I right? Am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong on the 5 dumb things. If you've had fantastic growth, harnessing the power of the universe and the power of lightning to get your tomatoes to grow and peppers and cucumbers, then let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear you. If you've had a hose or irrigation system in your garden for more than 3 years and it's still working today, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what company you bought from. I'd love to hear you, and maybe someone else would too. Maybe that'd be a good recommendation for someone to do. But I personally like spending time in the garden. I personally like watering my plants. And I don't consider it a burden to do so. Sometimes I have a hard time trying to juggle to get it all done, but I really like spending time in my garden. If you have found a system to do that, let me know. Or anything else I've talked about, let me know. I'd love to hear about it. Now, you may notice that during this whole diatribe of stuff we've talked about today, there was not one commercial that YouTube has put in. Now, I always tell YouTube, don't put any ads in my videos, in the middle of my videos. Now, sometimes later on down the road, they will come back and they will do that. So if you're seeing an ad in the middle of this video, it's not something I put. I tried specifically on all my videos to never do that. Why? Because I hate it. I don't like it when people do that to me. It interrupts the flow of the video. I'm like, what was he saying again? I have to rewind back. I hate it. So I put ads at the beginning and at the end, and I also talk to people about Patreon and what I offer there. People often forget that I have entire layouts, blueprints of our chicken coop over there that you can download and take a look. If you're interested in building a chicken coop, the Mac Daddy of chicken coops, I have those blueprints over there at my at Patreon. I have blueprints for our smokehouse. I have videos, playlists for butchering animals, for ham radio communications. And the thing that I'm most proud of, the thing that I like the most, are all of the tinctures that I'm building, the tincture library, and what we offer in terms of these books that we give away to all of our patrons. These 2 books, if you bought these on Amazon right now, you're probably going to pay over $1,000 a piece for them. Sometimes they go up, sometimes they go down. Sometimes they're astronomical prices over Amazon. I give these to all my patrons for as little as $1 a month. Okay. Now, just the other day, I made a whole bunch. Actually, last year, I made a whole bunch of walnut tincture. And then just the other day, I actually separated that tincture into jars so that I could save it because I used the walnut tincture, the black walnut tincture, throughout the year. This is the little bottle that I use on a daily basis right there. Someone gave that to me years ago, and I'm not sure who, I forgot. And then that's the one I just keep replacing. Once it's empty, I just put in new black walnut tincture that I've made here on the Homestead. Last year, you may have remembered, I dug up a bunch of mayapple root. I did a video on that. And this is great for malaria. It says it treats malarial jaundice. And one of the things that I've told people often on my channel, the thing that's killed more people throughout all of humanity than anything else is malaria, especially in the South, because that's where people who go north to south, they're really affected by it. And the South spends hundreds of millions of dollars every year to keep malaria at bay. And if systems ever break down, malaria is going to be in your area. So I'm putting together a number of tinctures that help fight malaria. There's a number of them out there. Well, this one here is nasturtium, and I grew nasturtium last year, and this treats a whole bunch of different things. We'll talk about it on the Patreon page. But this one here, too, this one came from Doc Jones, the homegrown herbalist. It's the Venom and Sting tincture, and I'm going to make this my own. I'm looking for all the stuff, so I've got the, it says, I don't know if you can see that or not. It's dandelion root, echinacea root, marshmallow root, and plantain. I have found everything except the marshmallow root. I have yet to see a marshmallow plant on my homestead. So I may have to order that online specifically to find it. But I'm still looking, especially right now. I'm looking at all the plants and trying to see if I can identify it. One last mention before I get started. Let me wrap up with this here real quick. You can learn how to make tinctures. Any video can show you how to do that. But what do you do with them? That's why these books are important. And that's why I want you to go to my Patreon page, join up for as little as $1 a month. Get these books that are very highly prized. They're very expensive for as little as $1 a month. It comes with color photos and shows you all the plants. Most of these are probably growing in your backyard, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, you can dig these up yourself and use them yourself. This book tells you what to do with them. It doesn't tell you how to make a tincture. It tells you what you do with the tincture once you have it, what to use it for. One other thing I'll mention real quick before I go. I've been to a number of speaking events this year. I'm going to a couple more. I've got one coming up with Off Grid with Doug and Stacy, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's always a fantastic event over there. And one of the things that they offer to people who come to that, and even online, is something that I have found very valuable here on my homestead. I have a 12-year-old who loves to spend time outside. He loves to hunt. He loves to fish. He's always trapping out there, trying to catch coyotes. And he always carries a pocket knife wherever he goes. Well, actually a belt knife, but he carries a knife. And there's been a few times where he's cut himself because he tries to keep that knife sharp, a lot sharper than Daddy would like him to. So there's been a couple times where I've had to use this herbal stitches that Doug and Stacy have offering, and they gave this to me a couple years ago, and there's been a couple instances where there was one for sure. He had a very, very deep cut that most people would absolutely have gone to the ER and they would have gotten stitches for it. I didn't do that because I was listening to what Doug was telling me, and Doug was like, hey, just pour the stuff in it, close it up, put some gauze on it, close it up, wrap it up, and then repeat it the next day, and it won't even give you scars. And he was right. Dude was right. It works. Absolutely works. Prevented infection. Allowed the cut to heal. I didn't have to go to the doctor. I didn't have to get stitches. It was absolutely fantastic. Herbal Stitches Wound Care. This stuff is made with comfrey root, slippery elm powder, myrrh powder, bayberry root powder, which we've talked about before on my Patreon, garlic powder, and it says right here, pack dry powder into wound and apply pressure till bleeding stops. And he had a pretty deep cut, and it worked fantastic. I would absolutely recommend getting some of this stuff if you can. Keeping it in your bathroom, in your first aid kit. It works fantastic. So, and I've used it multiple times now. So I'll be there. I think, is it the third weekend in May. I'll be in Vandalia, Missouri at the Off Grid with Doug and Stacy spring event. It's going to be a fantastic time. I hope you come out and see me. All right, I know I've given you a lot to talk about for the weekend. Hope you guys have a good one. I love you. I'll see you next time in the Homestead. Bye. Have you ever gone to a health food store and seen all those small bottles of probiotics in your cooler section? Man, can they be pricey. Are you really getting all you need to improve your gut health from those expensive bottles? How viable are they? Most of those products claim to give you between 8 and 15 strains of gut-healthy healing bacteria. Think of each strain of bacteria as a different factory in your gut. Each factory is responsible for breaking down that food in its own way. The more factories you have, the more the food is broken down and the easier the food is absorbed and digested by the body. A 2018 study published by the National Library of Medicine shows that one fermented head of cabbage can produce up to 114 strains of beneficial bacteria. That's a lot more food factories than you're getting from that expensive pill bottle. And that's just cabbage. Imagine the probiotics when you add garlic, onions, pepper, and more to that ferment. PerfectPickler.com and its home fermentation kits provide you with everything you need to get started making your own gut-healthy food factories from the comfort of your own kitchen. PerfectPickler.com even provides a jam-packed recipe book with many of our kits. Visit PerfectPickler.com and start fermenting your own veggies to begin your journey to better gut health. That's PerfectPickler.com. Hey guys, did you know you can become a patron of an American Homestead? They get access to private videos, and we send them gifts from the Homestead that we make here on the Homestead. And we also enter our patrons into special giveaways that are only available to them. And before you go, please check out these other great videos. Go ahead, click. Oh wait,